WWE Bad Blood has just finished. What did you think? Let's start things off in our review with the Hell in a Cell match. This was probably one of the highlights for me for this entire night. The show overall, I thought, had some really good moments, and it had some stuff where I was kind of like, this is all right. But comment below what do you guys think. But yeah, the Hell in a Cell match, I thought it totally delivered. I thought that they did a great job telling the story in the ring back and forth. They got blood from both guys. Drew McIntyre was busted open like just a huge amount. I thought the table spot was excellent. I love the chain spots. I love the finishers. Like, I love so much about this match. I think it was a great way to end this feud, this chapter of it anyways. You know, they had all the tools for the toolbox out there. You got Punk hitting Drew McIntyre with the toolbox in the head. There was a lot to really like just from a storytelling perspective, even down to Drew McIntyre getting out a little bag, and I'm like, oh man, they're gonna do thumbtacks, and no, he grabs beads. Now that could be a little cartoonish and silly for some, because you're like, he's gonna throw them on beads. No, but they take the beads. Punk gets the beads and he takes a fistful of it, shoves it down Drew McIntyre's throat, just like Drew did to him. Lots of callbacks to the previous matches. Another really great callback, but homage, if you will. They did a little bit of Austin and Bret Hart with the sharpshooter spot where Stone Cold is bleeding, Crimson Mask coming down. That whole moment, they kind of paid tribute to that, where you have Punk giving the sharpshooter to Drew McIntyre, and Drew is gushing blood, and they got the camera shot on him. So I really love that little moment there. The only downside, and you guys let me know what you think, the only downside for me was that no one climbed the cage. You could see the spots in the Hell in a Cell that are there where you got the little footholes. So I thought all night long I was kind of hoping that we were going to see something. I don't want guys jumping off the top of the cell and destroying themselves, but I like the idea, you know, maybe go halfway up and go down a table. I don't know, but something. I like when they can go up to the top of the cell. It's just kind of fun and a throwback. I don't want to see anybody go through, not like Mick Foley. But they hyped up the Hell in a Cell. I think they did a great job of trying to build to it all this way. To me, it really did deliver. I will ask the question though, where do we go from here? What do you do with Drew and Punk? Now, I think because it's Hell in a Cell, this needs to change everybody. It needs to take them off TV for quite some time. I don't think we see them at Crown Jewel. We'll talk about Crown Jewel in a minute. And then I don't think, maybe Survivor Series, they might creep up again. You never know, but I think they're going to be off TV for a while. I think they need to sell it. You had the post match where you had CM Punk getting oxygen. You had Drew, who took a nasty move where he was trying to go for the Claymore, and he ended up hitting like the middle of his back on this edge of the steps. It was gnarly looking. There was some spots in here that looked like it really hurt. I got to give up to both guys. It was a brutal match. It was fun to watch, and CM Punk gets the win over Drew McIntyre. Now, the next match on the card, you follow up a Hell in a Cell, and you got Nia Jax versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. Nia, I thought, looked great in this match. They played it up in that Nia was dominant. She was the dominant champion, dominant force, taking down Bayley. I thought this match was, I thought it was good. I didn't love it. I think a lot of it has to do with just that it's coming off of Hell in a Cell. The crowd was wild for that. They loved it. They were cheering a ton. And I think it's hard to follow up a Hell in a Cell match, whatever the next match is going to be. But I think they did a very good job with it. However, it felt like a little rinse and repeat. You mostly had Nia just dominating Bayley getting a few hope spots in, more dominance from Nia Jax. You eventually get Tiffany Stratton running down to do the cash-in attempt. She's gonna go for it, and then it just all gets kerfuffled, and Tiffany doesn't end up cashing in. Nia Jax gives a Samoan drop to Bayley, and then Nia hits her finisher off the top, gets the 3 count, and that's it. No help from Naomi in this match, which maybe they're going to play that story in down the line of how she didn't come to Bayley's aid, because I'm wanting to see Bayley and Naomi go off and have a proper feud, and I kind of hope that they would do something in this match. So because this was like basically straight up, we didn't get a full cash in, kind of left me feeling like, okay, did this need to happen at Bad Blood? Could they have done this as the go home to SmackDown for Bad Blood and then maybe put in US title match? Or Braun Breaker Jey Uso maybe could have been at Bad Blood and given that Jay moment at Bad Blood. But you're getting more doubt with the relationship between Nia and Tiffany, which is what you need. Hopefully it does give you Bayley and Naomi doing something later on. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite match. Next up, we have the Judgment Day match of Damian Priest going up against Finn Balor. I love Finn's entrance for this thing. In this match, Finn Balor just could not get the job done on Damian Priest. Priest ends up getting the win here with the South of Heaven at the very end. What did you think of this one? I didn't love it. I felt like it was a good, solid match, but to me, it almost felt like it could have main evented Raw. It didn't feel like it was the culmination of their feud. Frankly, they're probably going to extend Finn and Priest once again because you did have Judgment Day interference with Carlito and JD McDonough coming out there. But the problem I had was, okay, you keep making Priest look strong. Fair, fine. But I don't feel like this was helping Finn Balor enough. Finn hits a coup de grace. Then he hits like basically another coup de grace on Damian Priest in the back of his head. Priest is like all out of it. He goes for like a third one. He's completely scrambled. And then Priest just pops up South of Heaven, 1, 2, 3, it's over. After we had the interference from Judgment Day. This felt like, and I know you gotta balance the card too. You can't just have heels winning all night long. And they probably will still keep the story going. That's okay. But I thought Finn Balor really could have used the win here. And frankly, I think Judgment Day could have used the win in this match. But because Priest got the win, we see what happened later on with Rhea and Liv, that clearly we are going to get this feud going even longer, with all of Judgment Day involved. I don't know, the match just was fine. It just felt kind of standard, you know, waiting. Even Michael Cole is calling out like, oh, and here comes Judgment Day right on time. You're like, yeah, you're kind of waiting for just Judgment Day interference, and then there's a schmozzy finish. It could have used a little bit more for this match. Now, after this, we did get probably one of my favorite moments of the night. We get the Triple H cam, which is just a shot of Triple H sitting in that gorilla, and he's doing some paperwork before the next thing, figuring out what he's gonna say about Crown Jewel in a minute. So the Triple H cam, I love that. Just trying to, it didn't make any sense. Then we were getting a big announcement from Triple H coming out, and he did. He came out and he had a big old announcement for everyone for Crown Jewel. Triple H is standing there, and he's got what looks to be title belts, or a belt, underneath the curtain. And he goes, and everyone is sitting there going, oh my goodness, they're gonna do it. They're gonna reveal mid-card women's titles, and we're all gonna be very happy. And he was super excited about it. And then he unveils a Crown Jewel title. Crown Jewel is going to be in 4 weeks, and Triple H announces that for both the men and the women world champions, we are going to get world champion versus WWE champion for the respective men's and women's side, and they are going to compete one-on-one at Crown Jewel. Champion versus champion matches. And the winner of each respective champion versus champion matches becomes Crown Jewel champion for that year. So we're going to get Cody versus Gunther, and we're going to get Nia versus Liv. Spoilers, Liv retains. I thought this was goofy. There's more that happened in this segment. I don't know. What do you think about the Crown Jewel title? They tried this before. This is not the first time Saudi Arabia has said to WWE, we want belt. And they've had Greatest Royal Rumble, they've had Best in the World trophies. Now they got another belt that's even bigger than other belts, and just here we are. So it's basically meaningless. It's gonna be for that year, and Cody is not gonna like walk around with the Crown Jewel title. He'll hold it up at the very end of the night, and that'll be that. Here's the problem though I have with it. While it is essentially just an exhibition match for both men and women, fine. The problem I have is that within the stories of WWE, you kind of make the other person look weak, aren't you? Like if Cody and Gunther are gonna fight it out in 4 weeks at Crown Jewel, great, that's an amazing match, but you're just giving it away in an exhibition. It doesn't mean anything, and Cody ain't losing, is he? Or is he? So that's kind of my problem with it, is like, you're gonna leave potentially Gunther losing? I don't know, doesn't that make him look weaker and his title inferior? That's also the problem when you have like Survivor Series where they would do brand versus brand, you'd have champ versus champ. It's cool and all, but it kind of can leave the other champion, the loser, is less on the totem pole. But this segment was not over yet. We had way more fun and shenanigans going on in this thing. So then Gunther comes out. Speaking of Gunther comes out, he's in the ring with Triple H, that's a lot of fun. And then Gunther sees Goldberg ringside, and you got Bill Goldberg over there. So Gunther eyes over at Bill Goldberg and just calls him trash, basically. Goldberg stands up, starts cursing, hops the barricade, almost slips. Almost like, I felt like Goldberg was gonna like break his hip doing that thing. So then he gets the schmaz, and then security comes out, and it's a whole thing, they separate, and then Sami Zayn runs in and starts attacking Gunther, and that's the end of segment. There are a lot of legends they highlighted like ringside throughout the night. So you had Goldberg, you had DDP, Scott Steiner, Mickey James. You had a big night of legends ahead of you. Arn Anderson was there too, but he didn't have the Glock. So that's disappointing. So what do you think of Crown Jewel belt? For me, rather silly. I know why they're doing it, but kind of makes Crown Jewel a whole lot of whatever. But also, that makes, you know what it does? It makes me want to see one thing and one thing only at like WrestleMania. I want to see Gunther versus Goldberg one-on-one at WrestleMania. That's what I want to see happen. And you know what else? Cherry on top. Give me Bret the Hitman Hart as special guest referee for that match. That is just it all comes together, doesn't it? Bret can put Goldberg in a sharpshooter. And then we have the Women's World Championship match, Shark Cage match. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. This was pretty much standard fare across the board. Dom going up in the shark cage though, he gets up there and then he's just hanging and they keep cutting to it, and Rhea's pretty much dominating. Liv trying to work over the leg throughout the entire match. It was fine, but I felt like we had some problems. Here's the one highlight for this shark cage match for me, and that would be that Dom had the cage door opened up and then he starts creeping like he's gonna go over and look over the edge, and he falls. And in that moment I was like, oh my god, he fell. They got me. He was hooked up by the rope or the chain or whatever, and he dangled there, which was hilarious. Then Rhea comes over, grabs a kendo stick, and starts whipping him like a piñata. So once you got the piñata spot, then you get the big attack. And it was Raquel Rodriguez making her return to save Liv Morgan. This is where it got clunky for me. I don't know what happened here, and I found it a little confusing watching this thing. So you got Raquel comes out and takes out Rhea Ripley, brings her back into the ring. Dom's still dangling. Then you have Raquel hits her finisher onto Rhea Ripley, and then the ref calls for the DQ. So it gets thrown out, DQ is against them, and Liv retains the belt. But what I didn't understand was that Rhea was out hitting Dom with a kendo stick first, and the ref didn't call DQ there, and it's a shark cage match. So isn't it no DQ? Like I didn't love it. Found it a little clunky too with just like the cut of it when Raquel was revealed. To me, it feels like I'm armchair quarterback here, but I just felt like you could have had it in the ring. If you want Rhea to do the kendo stick spot, fine. Maybe the ref gets knocked out and then there is no DQ called. She comes back in the ring, and then you could have had Raquel hit Rhea anyways. So I thought this whole sequence, it could have been better one way or another. And then when the ref just called for the late DQ for the bell, that just felt like it was off. The timing was off. But regardless of that, I think this is what a lot of fans have speculated, is that Raquel will come back and help Liv Morgan join Judgment Day, comes in as Liv's heater basically. And I think that's a really good spot because it breaks things up with this whole story they are doing. Rhea, I didn't think needed to get the belt right now. I don't think it was the best time for it. It's way too soon. They probably want to stretch this honestly till WrestleMania if they're smart with it. And now that you have Raquel in there, now you've got another buffer. Also, you might do this at Crown Jewel, but they could do Raquel and Rhea one-on-one at Survivor Series. It adds a little bit more for all of them to do. And yeah, Rhea versus Raquel will be a good one-on-one match. Then I feel like if you could stretch that to Survivor Series, then you get, for example, Rhea to win the Rumble, and then boom, you're setting things up for WrestleMania. And then we have the main event, the big tag team match, and man, oh man, you know what we gotta talk about. Spoiler alerts here, everybody. The Rock has returned. The final boss is back, and I love it. Okay, this whole thing, let's start out with the most important part of all of this. They got their own bands to kick things off at the entrances. Nah, I'm kidding. I did not care for that. Cody got the band. That's a nice thing. They got the nice touch with the band there. Did not sound good on TV. Did not come across well. They also hiccuped his entrance, so they had to redo it. So that was something. Roman, the OTC, he put your ones up for the OTC, and then he gets his own band. So they each get banned, and then they go up against the Bloodline, and it feels like a classic Bloodline tag team match where you are going to get Roman and Cody versus the Bloodline, and you're waiting for the big moment. Didn't think anything was bad with this. I think it was great to see Roman back on TV. Crowd was great. I think that we were just anticipating what the big moment was going to be, but Jacob Fatu looks strong. I think they did excellent with him. Makes me want to see Jacob versus Roman one-on-one, just Jacob one-on-one with a lot of different people. Glad that we didn't see Kevin Owens, Randy Orton get involved in any way. I'm glad that they put that aside. But it all came down to the big reveal. Got the man in the hoodie, and it's Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso comes back and he saves the day, and he helps out Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. You got super kicks, and you got Roman Reigns hitting the spear, and he's getting the victory over the Bloodline. So the tag teams, the Mega Powers, win. Cody and Roman retain. And as Jimmy and Roman leave, they also hug in the ring, but as they leave and go up the ramp, and Cody did a nasty table spot, which was awesome. So he's taken out. New Bloodline is attacking Cody in the ring. They're about to splash him and take him out. And then Roman's got to make the decision. And Jimmy's like, I got your back. What do you want to do? And decides to go there and help out Cody Rhodes. So they get rid of the New Bloodline, and you got Cody and Jimmy and Roman standing tall. And the second that Cody holds up his belt, The Rock's music hits. Love it. He comes out and he just stares. He's got the People's Championship, which I love. Like, he hasn't dropped it since WrestleMania. He just walks around with that forever. And then you just get the stare down. The Rock looking at all of them in the ring, gives them the eyebrow, hits his music, and walks out. Thought that part was excellent. What a moment for fans there live to be able to have that. So the question is, obviously, what do we do with The Rock? What's his involvement? What's next? I gotta believe that they're gonna take some time here, and we're setting things up now for WrestleMania. Since The Rock came out and saw what he saw, and he did not like that he saw Jimmy, Roman and Cody together in the ring celebrating, feels like we are going to get to Survivor Series, New Bloodline versus the old Bloodline with Cody. Think that they'll probably get Jey Uso back in there now that he's Intercontinental Champion as well. They recruit Jey. Then you can get that 4v4 War Games match if you want to do that. It feels like from now until Mania, we will see, but we'll get those big cinematic vignettes from The Rock. Hopefully we can get an explanation soon about his involvement, but it'd also be kind of cool if they just kind of laid back with The Rock right now. You let people just sit on it and wonder, what are we going to get? What's the roadmap? When will he come back once again? People are talking about Crown Jewel was going to be the match of Rock and Cody Rhodes for the title. Obviously that is not happening. If they want to get Rock versus Cody before Mania, you could do it at the Royal Rumble, but I don't know. Or they're going to wait and just do it at Mania. It's a great way to end Bad Blood. I feel like it was bookend by two really good moments and matches, and everything in between, it was pretty okay. But the final boss is back and I'm excited, and Bad Blood was pretty good, but what did you think of it? Comment below, hit subscribe if you guys like the videos here on the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.